more on sort of Rocketwerkz. Like you started this off the back of sort of a cult of personality that formed around you, and you always talk as though you're an ideas guy. You like pushing concepts. Was that really why you started Rocketwerkz, so you could just stick your fingers in as many pies as possible?
I'd actually say I'm more of a vision guy. I don't really care what the idea is, and actually quite a lot of times it's not necessarily my idea, but I like to take a vision and then sort of really push people towards it and keep people motivated and interested and stuff like that. So at Rocketwerkz we have 45 full-time staff now in New Zealand. Like 5 of our staff are senior ex-Bethesda members working on Fallout and Skyrim and stuff like that. We have a number of people who are ex-Bohemia and ex-Crytek. So many big studios. We've got a couple of people from DICE. Most of those people are not working on these games, so when people see the games that we're making, they think stationaires, they think out of ammo, simple graphics. These are actually our smaller projects. In some cases, more passion projects of like mine. On a larger scale, most of our team are working on a very complex, quite ambitious first-person shooter game. We have like a tycoon game and stuff like that.
So 5 in development at the moment, is it?
Yes.
And you haven't sort of talked publicly too much
2
about
of them are known. So one of them is an expansion to the VR game that we made, which is a very small project, only about, I think, 2 or 3 people on that at the moment. Then there's this, there's a tycoon game, there's a shooter game, and then there's another super secret game as well.
And are you now the largest developer in New Zealand?
No, not even really close. There's the Path of Exile guys, who are amazing guys and a huge success. So, yeah. Well, I say we're New Zealand's fastest growing studio.
Okay, yeah, well that's a nice distinction.
We hire about 1 person a week at the moment.
Looking at DayZ, obviously, like they're still in early access. That community sort of, it boils over every now and then, and sort of shots get fired, as it were. People get sort of harassed, if not beyond what is really appropriate for a community. Has that sort of changed the way you've approached early access with Rocketwerkz?
Well, I think what changed the way I approached things was not making the same mistakes again. Like, I made a lot of mistakes with it. People get angry about that, but they don't realise, like, you do the best you can, right? And if you look at when DayZ come out, we didn't know a lot of the things that we know now. Early access practically didn't exist. And, survival games, there was very few of what are now, just everywhere survival games. So it's very easy to look back and go, oh, why did you do this and why did you do that? So an important part of what we're doing is not making those same mistakes again. And part of Out of Ammo, our VR game that we released and done reviewed really well, we used that as a chance to explore early access and figure out how to do it. And then with Stationeers, the idea is to scale it up a bit more and say, can we still do it? Does it still work? How do we take consumer feedback at the early stage and factor it into the game without turning it into a big negative thing? I mean, I sort of joke, it's not entirely a joke, DayZ is a bit like the Nickelback of video gaming, People just love to rip on it, and I think a lot of the people who rip on it haven't actually played it, and certainly haven't played it recently. But, you can't really complain about that. A lot of the times when people complain about me or the game or that, it just means more people come and check out the game.
Do you still get people, like, going at you for DayZ?
Oh yeah, a little bit. But like I say, if you get comments on articles and that, what they don't realise is when you get lots of comments on an article, the journalists want to write more articles about it, and so it just sort of comes with
it is a beast that is self-sustaining. And when are you looking to access? Sorry, there's someone is playing around with some heads. That's very distraction. When are you looking to get this out into the hands of the community?
So the next step for us, now we've revealed it and we've got some really good feedback from people about what's happening, is to start live development. And this is something we've been passionate about for a while, but we don't really know how to do. So the idea is that we start streaming the development of the game. Like literally, as we're making it, we stream it. And we let the community talk to us about the stuff we're doing. Do they like the features? What do they want to see more of? What do they want to see less of? So they really see the game. And then in about 2 to 3 months, we anticipate we'll be ready for an early access launch.
So you're going to have like a really long game jam. That's all streamed.
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of gone through that. A lot of our focus has been on architecture. So you see, this is running in multiplayer, and we've had 16 players from all around the world. playing the game in a closed test for quite a while. So yeah, we focused a lot on the architecture. Now we're looking at starting to focus more on the content and finishing the game loops. And at the end of that process, once we have a fully complete game loop, that's when we're ready for early access, and that's when we discover how many people really want to play the game. Because a lot of people say, don't do early access. The problem is, then we have to make a decision exactly what the game is and how big the scope is. But the problem is, we'll underestimate or overestimate what that would be, which would be very bad. So we release the game to see what the consumer interest is, where they want the game to go.